Hello and welcome. So this particular tutorial is all about getting started converting Webflow to WordPress using Udesly 3.0. Okay, so the process is a pretty straightforward one. The guys at Udesly have done a fantastic job of pretty much making it a one-button push. So click, and you're done. But obviously there's going to be a few things that we need to be aware of to make sure that the two systems work together nicely and we don't end up like this. As tutorials go, what I'm trying to do is actually show the process behind doing something without making it too complicated or too convoluted. So what I'm going to be doing is working through step by step in terms of here's a very stripped back version of a design so that you can apply this to your own process. Okay, so let's get started. So we need three things to do this conversion. First one, Webflow. Second one, Udesly. Third one, a installation of WordPress on the hosting provider of your choice. Now, my preference is Cloudways, and the reason being is I think that the hosting support is fantastic. It's managed, so from a security standpoint, you're good. And if you get into a little bit of a pickle, they kind of there to help, and they solve problems very, very quickly. Two, it allows you to configure your server based on your specific requirements, so you can have as much RAM or as little RAM as you want, but underlyingly, the servers are really, really fast. I have a Vultr server set up. That's because I deal with a lot of clients and I need something a bit beefy, but you don't need to go that heavy. Again, there's links below. So if you are interested in any of those things or you don't have any of those three things, please click on them below because I get that as an affiliate link. So no cost to you, but it gives me a little bit of a kickback. Job done. And thank you very much. Okay, so one other thing we're going to be using is Flowbase. Now, if you haven't come across Flowbase, it is a awesome collection of Webflow components that you can literally just copy and paste, and you can basically build a website extremely quickly. It is an awesome feature, and I couldn't recommend it highly enough. The design is fantastic, and everything works straight out the box. And you can literally just do a little bit of a conversion and a few steps, and you can get it to convert pretty simply. Right, okay, now what we're going to do is start with the rough structure of the site. Again, we're not going to go into huge detail. I'm just going to try and show you the fundamental process. So we're going to do a header, and we're going to do a CMS-driven section, so projects, for instance, and we'll create that as well, and I'll show you how that all links up. Cool. So here we are in Flowbase, and we'll choose this one. Okay, and all we have to do is say click copy component, go across to our Webflow, click on the body, and paste it, and job done. We're pretty much there. Now we can tweak and move and edit anything within these, but as you can see, the components come across pretty beautifully with all sorts of animation. And from a design point of view, makes your life a hell of a lot easier. Right. Now, all of the components and the images and stuff like that in the actual system will be editable when we convert it across. And the Udesly app basically goes through, creates binds, and allows you to edit it within the front-end editor, which is extremely useful. And unlike some of the other conversion processes, you don't have to add in custom attributes in order to get that to do. It's pretty much an automated process. So good job, Udesly. Okay, so now we've got a structure that I think looks pretty cool for a one-click solution. We can obviously change the image out and we can do anything we want to, but we're not going to do that for the time being. So now let's go back to Flowbase, and we will choose something like a blog post, which will convert it into a projects thing. So I don't know, this looks nice. So we'll just copy that. So we'll go into here and we will simply copy and paste the component. So copy that component, we'll head on over. Now, yes, I understand that they don't match, but it's not the point. We can obviously tweak this, but out the box, it looks pretty good. Now, obviously you would go through and you would change your CSS and your classes and your styling so that it all matched accordingly. So if we wanted to change that, for instance, we'd go into there and change our color to our specific color that we're looking for. And easily done. Right, okay, so rough structure's pretty much there. Obviously, very bare bones, not too much about it. Again, this tutorial is about the fundamental steps. Don't get too bogged down in creating the full website. This is just showing you how to convert the basics. Now, this particular section the header section should convert no problem. But the dynamic area has not been linked up, and the components when they come across from Flowbase aren't linked up. So we need to create that. But firstly, we actually need the CMS elements in order to actually link them to. So let's create that now then. So it's going to our CMS. We'll create our first collection. We will say it's projects. We'll create the collection and we'll add 10 items. Job done. So now what we need to do is link it all up. And this is what's going to take a little bit of work, but it really is not difficult once you understand how. And what you're trying to do is match the visual hierarchy and the class structure so that when you copy and paste the elements in, it looks good. So let's get started with that. Okay, so here we have the things that need to be blog or CMS driven. And as you can see, there's no purple icon on them whatsoever. So out the back, this will not convert to anything because it wouldn't be editable in the first place. So we need to create something that's got blog items. It's got these particular elements within it and that. So what we will do is we will just go into here and we'll go Control E and we'll add in a collection list. We can duplicate that. This one needs to be called blog items in the collection list. We'll call it blog items, and we have our grid there. And this one here needs to be called featured blog. And I'm just getting those classes from there. So if we actually click on those elements, we can see the class at the top, and we just have to match those. So featured blog. Now what we need to do is link these to a collection. So we just have to double click and just choose our projects collection that we created for both of them. All right, so now what we need to do is drag and drop one of those blog items into here, and we'll drag and drop this collection into the featured blog. Okay, so once we got that, you can already see that a lot of our stuff is already here, but there's a little bit that we need to do in order to make it work properly. So obviously limiting some items and deleting the old ones that we no longer need. So let's do that. Okay, so first things first is delete the ones that aren't CMS linked, and we'll get rid of those. And we can see now that our blog items are all displayed there, and we've got a long list of these. Now you can actually see it's knocking them all out, but none of them are actually linked to the CMS. So let's first set up just some limits. So we've got a few less to work with. So we'll go to our collection list, and we will just say limit items, and we'll say, well, for this one, we only want to show one, and we can say it's starting at 1. And then for this one, we want to only show, let's say, the first 3. Okay, so job done. And now we have to start linking the CMS items. And the great thing about the way that Udesly have done this is as you build your website as you would normally with collection lists and CMS items, as you click them in, it will automatically populate that and bring it across into the WordPress installation. And the cool thing is it will go and it'll actually create the custom post types and the taxonomies and all that stuff that you need automatically for you within WordPress. And it does it in a very, very neat way. So when your clients do go to use this, they're getting a perfectly configured installation. And it's really, really, really easy to do. Right, so now let's link all the CMS elements up and we'll go from there. All right, so first things first is we want to click on the image, and you can see this little get images from projects. So we just need to go down, select the main project image, and we're seeing that's coming through. Let's do the same for the text field. So we want that as a name, and we want this to be the date. So we'll say published date, and let's say there's no published date, because it's not published yet. So let's say created on date. So we'll say on the created on date. Now, let's say we wanted to add a short description, for instance, to this. And this is the same process for everything, basically. All you have to do is just, as long as there's a CMS item you can bind it to, you're good to go. So let's add in the the CMS in here, we will go and we'll just go Control E. We'll add in a paragraph. And we will choose a project summary. All right, so all looking pretty good. Same thing we need to do here is we need to go into this one and just select the, we will select the main project and we will link this to the name. I'll set this to 100% just so that it keeps the thing. So yeah, so that's something that you have to do. When you do with Flowbase, sometimes you have to manhandle some of the classes a bit to make it work for your particular design. So don't think that when you copy and paste something across, it's job done. You still need to take your due diligence and just think of it getting you there 80% to 90% there, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so we've added in all the collection lists, we've linked everything up, and now it's starting to add the custom attributes. And this is the hard part. Not really, just click a button. So go up to the top and click this Udesly template converter, then just hit webflow to WordPress, downloads a config file, and you're pretty much good to go. One thing to note though is when you go down to one of the collections, if you aren't seeing this bind custom attribute, it's because you need to refresh your browser. Now, a future update of the Udesly application should automatically refresh your page. But if you're not seeing those bind things, before you export, make sure you just refresh the page and check that those bind attributes are there. Because if you export it without those and it doesn't have them, then the CMS bindings won't work and you'll have a problem. So yeah, okay, so we're there. So now the next part is to basically export our code and hit prepare zip and download it once it's good. So now over to the Udesly app and we just upload our few things and export our beautiful theme. So over to Udesly, we choose the file that we've just downloaded, which is this getting started one for me. We need to add in a screenshot. I've just created one earlier, but as you can read here, it says it must be 12,000 by 900 and it needs to be a PNG. Okay, and then just our theme configuration file. So we'll just choose the one there. I've got a few there because I kind of exported it a few times. And once you're ready, you just convert. Let it do its thing. It starts packaging everything. And once it's done, hit the download. Right, over to our WordPress installation. So this particular installation is completely clean. I haven't done anything to it. I haven't added any plugins or anything like that. You don't have to do anything. Obviously, if your specific build needs specific plugins, then that's up to you. But to get the site that you've designed in Webflow to move across, you're pretty much there. So, and that's a massive benefit because WordPress sites that require lots and lots of plugins just become a pain in the to keep and maintain. So the less plugins that you need to use, the better. It's also, from a security standpoint, it's easier to manage. Right, so now we just need to install the theme. So pretty straightforward. Head on over to Appearance. Click on Themes. And we go and we say Add New. Click Upload. And we just need to just drag and drop our theme into there. And hit Install. Now, big one. So when this is doing its thing, it's going to install a few things. It's going to install an ACF installation, which is Advanced Custom Fields, which basically allows you to create your various different custom fields and map them from your Webflow to your WordPress site, basically. It's also going to install a Udesly application, which allows you to control the front end, the data, and importing all of your dummy content across. Depending on your server spec, again, Cloudways are really great for this because the server specs are strong. But depending on your server spec, if you're running on a very slow server, this process can take some time because it has to go through and fundamentally create your website and bring all the content across and basically do all the heavy lifting for you. So the more powerful your server and the better spec it is, the quicker this is going to be. Now, if it does get stuck, you can force delete and force install again, and it will kind of go through it. But for now, what we need to do is let's just activate our theme. So that's our theme installed. But there's one more step we need to do. And this is, you can see here, this theme recommends the following plugin in Udesly app. So begin installing the plugin, hit install. Please hold. And we need to then activate it. So activate the plugin and it's good to go. So we can now see that our plugin is fully installed. Now, as you can see in the bottom corner here, it's saying starting to import data and posts. Now, depending on your server spec and how fast it is, how RAM, if it's a dedicated or a host or a shared hosting space, this could take a little bit of time. Also, depending on the complexity of your website. The bigger the website, it's going to take a little bit longer. And ostensibly, what this is doing is setting up the whole site. It's creating all the links. It's creating all the taxonomies. It's doing all the work for you. So enjoy. You can see mine is done. But for you, go have a beer or go play some hopscotch. Do whatever you want. Come back when it's finished. Enjoy it. You've worked hard. Do it. Cool. All right. So now we have our website that's all set up and good to go. So there's not much else to do. Just copy that and we will just paste it into here so you can see the website, and there's our website all set up and good to go. All of the fields are all working. It's all set up and working. That is awesome. But now say, for instance, we wanted to change some copy. So the cool thing about what the Udesly tool does, it actually comes with a front-end editor. Now, this tool is going to evolve and it's going to get better and better. And one of the things that's going to be coming is basically on-canvas editing. The reason why it's not there like it is at the moment, like it was previously in the legacy one, is so that you can see all fields and so that anything that's hidden, you can still edit. But anyway, so what we want to do is we want to go up to here and you can see I can open up the front-end editor. If you're not seeing that little bar at the top, it's because you're not signed into your WordPress installation. So yep, we go into here, open the front-end editor, and we can see you can change images, we can change links, we can change text, and we can change text areas. If we click on text, we can see here, we want to maybe change that digital agency. We'll call it to online agency. And just hit save. And what we just need to do is just refresh the page and you will see it says now online agency. Okay, so that's how you edit the text. Now, obviously, images, button, links, all of that is the same. There's one other thing, though, and that is symbols. So we didn't create any symbols within this particular thing. And if you don't know what a symbol is, basically, it's a reusable component that you set up in Webflow, and you create them basically by going into your component, selecting what you want, right-clicking it, and saying create symbol. Let me call this one header. Okay, so we now have a header symbol. And what that allows us to do is reutilize that component over and over and over and over again. And we can update the copy and it will change across all of those instances. When you do that, it's really handy because, say, for instance, you created a custom navigation where you've got all of these different links and titles that you want to be consistent across the entire site. That's when you would use it. And in order to edit those, you have to go into the symbols area on the front end editor. So quite frankly, you go into there and we don't have any symbols, but that's where you would edit them. So that's pretty much it from a conversion point of view and how to edit it. But now if you wanted to create a new project, for instance, to add it, you don't have to keep doing that in Webflow and porting it across because that would be extremely inefficient. But what the Udesly app does, and I said this a few minutes ago, is it creates all the custom taxonomies and custom post types and everything for you and drops it into the dashboard. So it's very easy for yourself or your clients to update and amend. And so if we go into the actual dashboard, and you can see here, and basically what it's done is actually created the project's custom post type. And I can go in here and I can go and I can edit any of those using the CMS. And we can add in all the copy, change the client logo, services rendered. Is it a featured product? So every custom field that you create in Webflow gets converted into this and put into this awesome interface. So it's very, 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 very easy to maintain and update for your clients and for yourself. So yeah, that's the end of the tutorial. Streamers may fly. It's very simple. The process is fantastic. It is beta, so there are a few still things that are iterating. So if you do find a challenge or a bug, let us know, and we'll try and cover it off. So watch out for the next tutorials. They're coming soon. Cheers. Bye.